Well, I'd say I'm about 45 minutes into my hike. A lot of natural light now. You can see the scenery is incredible in this canyon. I've never been in this part in the daylight. Last time we came down, it was black, pitch black. Just my headlamp to illuminate the road. It's a very lush canyon. Passed by some huge toyons, a huge pale silk tassel, scores and scores of foothill ash, and some decent-sized big leaf maples. It was still a little too dark for me to get a picture of the toyon. There are two really big toyons, probably the largest toyons I have personally ever seen. Of course, a lot of sycamores, a lot of coast live oaks, lots of willows, mule fat, and sycamores. We're still in Lower Silverado Canyon. I got a long way to go before I get to Main Divide. But as you can see, scenery here is beautiful. And since this is a road, it's not super steep. It's a little steeper here than it was at the beginning, but nothing insane. And make sure you stay closer to the middle of the road, because this is a poison oak right here. There's a lot, and I mean a lot of that, along the side of the road. So just be careful. Also a lot of California sagebrush, Artemisia californica. That's everywhere too, contributing to the enchanting scents. This dormant tree is a big leaf maple, one of the more moderate sized specimens I've seen. Saw a couple of decent sized ones here. Haven't quite got to the conifers yet, meaning big cone Douglas firs and coulter pines. I got a ways before I get up to that. Yeah, I think I can see one up there somewhere, but that's a ways away. But this is precisely why I love the Santa Ana Mountains, or I'd say a large part of why. The aromas in this canyon are delectable. White sage, California sagebrush, mule fat, bay laurel, white alder, sycamore. They all contribute to the woodsy smells of this canyon. With white alder, kind of has a cottonwood-like smell. Kind of a nice, soft, subtle, woodsy aroma. Kind of a more of a resinous, almost balsam-like smell, which is also the smell of the cottonwoods. I passed a couple of them along the way too, but I don't see a lot of cottonwoods. I think, well, yeah, I saw Fremont cottonwood back there. In this canyon, I would expect to see an occasional Fremont or black cottonwood, but not a lot of cottonwoods around here. One unfortunate thing I saw was a coast live oak, a huge old one that must have fell over in a windstorm. That was probably about, I'd say about 3/4 of a mile back. Kind of sad to see. It was the largest trunk that I've seen in this area. So you could tell it was very well aged. And it's hard to see from here, but I think I can see Main Divide on that ridge line up there. I think that's Main Divide, unless it's part of Maple Springs. But I would say most people drive up this. I had one pickup truck or SUV come by me earlier, so gates open. I've been here 2 other times before. Well, at the Maple Springs trailhead, and the gate was always closed when I came. Somehow it must have got opened as people go by, but when I came this morning it was open. More big leaf maple, more sycamore, lots of willow, oh, some bay laurel, this evergreen right here, some of them here. And those little white alders still have a lot of leaves on them, because these are deciduous trees. They shed their leaves in the fall, but I guess with the very warm temperatures this fall and winter, I mean, it's been like summer a lot. I mean, we're in a cool stretch right now, but we've had a lot of warm weather. But there are lots of white alders around here. Beautiful trees. All in this rhombifolia. And here we got a little sugar sumac right here. Some rusovada. Seen quite a few of those on the way up. And up here on the south facing slope is coastal sage scrub. You can see a lot of the plants are still pretty brown, because it wasn't until about a week and a half ago when we finally got significant rain. And it looks like we had a little bit here last night too, because pavement's a little damp. So they said they were supposed to get some snow in the mountains, including a chance in the Santa Anas, but probably this is probably prefrontal rain here. It would have been after the front pass through for the snow levels will drop, but so I'm not expecting to see any snow higher up, but we'll see. For now, enjoy the scenery, Silverado Canyon, all that marine sedimentary soil. So, enjoy this stretch of beautiful canyon. This is incredible. The scenery here is absolutely intoxicating. And the creek's got a little water flowing in it finally. So I'll see you along the way with more updates and finds. I'm sure I'll find more interesting stuff along the way. I'm certain of it, actually. It's only about 15 minutes later, and it's hard to see from here, but there's a first big cone Douglas fir. Well, I saw a snag of one a little bit back, but we got a coulter pine too. So starting to see conifers pop up. Just a sign of what's to come going up this road. But yeah, here we go. Got a nice Pinus coulter pine. So, pretty sure I'll start seeing more as I round the bend, get a view on that side. I can see a few of them, big cone Douglas firs, popping up on that side. So, I'm gonna start seeing more of them very soon. You know me, if you watched any of my other videos, you know I love conifers. I love coniferous trees. But I'll see you at the next find. The road's starting to steepen up a little bit. Starting to huff and puff a little bit. Still, this is not bad. Once I get to Main Divide, it's going to be a lot steeper. Probably. Main Divide usually is a steeper road, but absolutely awesome start to an awesome day. Look how lush the chaparral is on this side. A lot of these are actually probably more tree size, but I'll see you up the road when I start seeing more conifers and other interesting finds. Well, starting to get a lot more conifers now, a lot more big cone Douglas firs popping up, as you can see. So the climb has taken me up quite a ways. You can see a lot more big cone Douglas firs coming up. Things have been really awesome up till now. Now things are just getting better. Here we got a coffee berry, Frangula californica, subspecies californica. The leaves aren't tomentose like the subspecies tomentella. A nice little bay laurel right here, Bellularia californica. Right. So things are starting to get even more scenic. Now we're throwing a lot of conifers in the mix. These big cone Douglas firs. Always thought these were really interesting trees, and they are closely related, very closely related, in fact, to the Douglas firs further up north in California in the Pacific Northwest. So these are Pseudotsuga macrocarpa, big cone Douglas fir, and the Pacific Douglas fir, that's Pseudotsuga menziesii, variety menziesii. And then we also have the Rocky Mountain Douglas fir, Pseudotsuga menziesii, variety glauca, which big cone Douglas fir resembles more than the Pacific Douglas fir. With that in mind, the big cone Douglas fir is a much smaller tree than the Pacific Douglas fir, and the Rocky Mountain Douglas fir is also quite a bit smaller. We got to keep in mind, Pacific Douglas fir could potentially get nearly as tall as a redwood. So just keep that in mind. Douglas fir's one of the largest trees in the entire world, along with mountain ash eucalyptus, Eucalyptus regnans, coast redwood, Sequoia sempervirens. So, but our big cone Douglas fir can get up to about 120, maybe occasionally 130, 140 feet tall. So it does definitely stand out, especially in the chaparral environment. But we're going to start seeing more of them soon, and there's going to be a much larger grove of them as we go up. We've also passed the paved portion. Now we're on the dirt. So once you get on the dirt, you're getting closer to the groves of the more substantial groves of the big cone Douglas firs. So I'll see you up the road pretty soon. Enjoy the scenic Silverado Canyon. Well, done quite a bit of climbing. See my first view of Modjeska Peak. That one right there in the middle in the background. So, making pretty good progress. My plan is to hit both Santiago and Modjeska. I've never done both in the same day, so hoping to do that. Yeah, getting to the upper portion of Silverado Canyon and starting to get Eastwood Manzanita popping up. Lots of interior live oak too. And our variety is the shrubby Quercus whistleseni variety frutescens. We're getting a lot of that now. And a lot of scrub oak. So, yeah, the grade's definitely steepened up a bit, but if you take your time and not rush it, you should be fine. Going downhill on this shouldn't be too bad. I mean, this road is designed for automobile travel, but it's hard to see here on the video, but that canyon right there is starting to get a lot of dense big cone Douglas fir forest over there. So we're definitely above 3,000. I'd say maybe 3,400 feet. So I have roughly about 1,000 feet more to go in climbing before I get to the top of Maple Springs Truck Trail. And that's where I believe it's called Maple Springs Saddle. And that's where Main Divide picks up. And that's where you head up towards the Saddleback Formation of Santiago and Modjeska Peaks. Now we're looking down the north-facing slope. Look how dense that chaparral is. Absolutely beautiful. But what a nice climb. From the looks of it, doesn't look like Modjeska got any snow on it, so probably the cold front passed through and there was nothing behind it. Before the cold front, the snow levels were above Big Bear's elevation, which is 6,700 feet. Snow level last night was at 7,000 feet. And then it was supposed to drop very quickly once the front came through, but I just don't think there was any moisture behind it. So while it might have gotten cold enough on Santiago and Modjeska, I don't think it was moist enough for snow. So they probably got some rain because it did rain here in the lower elevations, but it was probably before the frontal passage. Kind of hoping to see snow up there, but just getting to the two peaks, shit, that's awesome enough for me. From this elevation, I have probably about a good 2,200 feet more to gain before I summit Santiago. My plan is to do Santiago first and then backtrack to Modjeska, so I can get the longest point, the longest distance out first, and then the shorter distance from Modjeska, because it's going to be quite a long descent. But I've never hiked this during the day. Like I said, the first time when I did Modjeska, I hiked up Silverado switchbacks, which are just past the Maple Springs trailhead on your left. And I hiked that up and over Bedford Peak, Bald Peak, and then Modjeska. And then I walked down Maple Springs, excited to see the coniferous forest. But by the time I got to where the big cone Douglas firs were, I could just barely see them in my headlamp. Headlamp works very well, but if you're trying to see long distances down a canyon to look at a tree, it's really not for that purpose. So I should be at the coniferous forest pretty soon. Starting to get more big cones popping up here and there. So should be able to see some pretty neat stuff, well, more neat stuff pretty soon. I'll keep you updated. Here we are, one of the larger groves of big cone Douglas firs and coulter pines. So now, here we are, just a few feet up from where I last checked in. This is where we start getting some thicker growth. Beautiful. Beautiful. I can't stress that enough. This is what I'm talking about. This is why I love the mountains so much. Look at these beauties. Coulter pines and big cone Douglas firs. Oh yeah. There should be more of them up ahead too. But oh yeah. I love this part. Always love being with the conifers. Love coniferous trees. Yeah. Look at all those coulter pines. Beautiful big cone Douglas firs. Absolutely beautiful, stunning, gorgeous, whatever else you want to call it, as long as it's positive. I think we're near Big Cone Spring. It's supposed to be 2 springs en route. We got Big Cone Spring and then Maple Spring. There's your bark of your big cone Douglas fir. Absolutely beautiful trees. And I know there's more up ahead, because I remember when I came through here in the dark the one time, I saw some silhouettes of some very large trees. I think it was further up ahead. But look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love being up here in the conifers. It's always a good feeling when you're up in the pines and the firs and the other conifers. Yeah, I'm hearing some dirt bikes. I can hear them off in the distance. Could be on Main Divide, but I don't know. Beautiful. Loving it. Loving it. Well, I'll check in soon with the next grove probably. But just need to get some footage of this, because I mean, I love coming up here, and I love having memories like visual memories. I mean, I'm always going to remember this in my mind, but I love looking at it visually too. These trees are just beautiful. But I'll see you pretty soon with the next update and find. Here we are, another patch of big cone Douglas firs. Very lush with this one. Very dense. Look at the density of these younger trees right here. Stuff like this is the reason why I hike. Well, besides summiting peaks, I also love seeing the forest. And I got the canyon live oaks, big cone Douglas firs. This is absolutely beautiful. I've hiked through this way before, but never in the daylight. So this is definitely a treat. And some of the pseudotsugas are starting to get a little bit bigger, the big cone Douglas firs. It looks like coastal wood fern all up there. Dreiopteris arguta. Looks like we got a coastal wood fern. Yeah, I can hear a dirt bike coming up. Look at this. In case you don't know, I'm in Orange County, California. I'm not in the San Bernardino Mountains, not in the San Gabriel Mountains, I'm not in the Sierra, but I'm in the Santa Ana Mountains. Absolutely incredible up here. I'm gonna sign out. This dirt bike makes it too loud to hear. Well, still climbing up Maple Springs. I'm seeing a lot more coulter pines now. The big cones are, I haven't seen many of those recently. But, got a nice panoramic view. You can see towards Agador Peak right there and Pleasance Peak. One of these is Bedford. I believe that might be Bedford right there. I learned quite how to recognize it from a distance. And then right over here, this little bump right here, that's a Bald Peak at 3,947 feet. So I'd say I'm probably about, man, I still got a ways to go. I think I'm at about 3,800 feet, because it looks like Bald Peak is just a little higher than I am. Well, I've been climbing for quite a while since I last checked in, but I'm starting to get closer to Maple Springs Saddle. And sorry for the sun glare, but that peak in the middle, that's Modjeska. I think this area burned in 2006 or 2007. Look at all the coulter pine saplings. So it looks like this area is off to a very good recovery. And I can still see some surviving adult coulter pines. Some younger adults down there. And there are several of them on the way up here. So that's one thing I do remember, is when I came down from Modjeska, the time I did Modjeska Peak, I remember there was still some natural daylight when I got down to this part. Not much, but there was a little bit left. When I get towards the saddle, there are going to be a lot of cypress saplings too, because they do occasionally plant cypresses here. Tecate cypress is native to the Santa Anas, especially over by Coal and Gypsum Canyons underneath Sierra Peak. But I think the ones planted here are Arizona cypress trees. Once we get there, I'll show you there's an adult tree. When I came the first time, it had cones on it. So I think there are probably a line of them planted here. And once the fire came through, there's an area where there are hundreds and hundreds of cypress saplings. So that should be interesting to see. Not quite there yet. I got a little ways to go, but not long, not too long. Right here, you can see some of the burnt snags of some of the coulter pines that eventually snapped off and broke, and the countless saplings that have come up. So that's a good sign to see that. I'll see you pretty soon at the saddle, or if I find something else to point out. I'm going to keep going up. I'm getting closer, so a little ways, but then I'll check in at the next finding. See you in a minute, or soon. Well, still haven't got to the saddle yet. Getting there. But found something interesting. An oracle oak, Quercus morehus, which is a hybrid between the black oak, Quercus kellogii, and the interior live oak, which in this case would be Quercus wislezenii variety frutescens. Now, kind of has the lobes. This specimen has the, shallow lobes, but a little bit deeper than what I often see on oracle oaks. Now, the lobes come from the black oak, Quercus kellogii, and right here is an interior live oak. This is probably the maternal tree. So what that means is that these oaks come from the acorns of the interior live oak. So the maternal tree is the interior live oak, and the paternal tree is the black oak. So maybe on a Santa Ana wind or something, maybe some black oak pollen somehow pollinated these interior live oaks here, resulting in this. Now you notice that this shrub is semi-evergreen. It's an intermediate trait between the black oak's fully winter deciduous profile, or fully deciduous habit, and the interior live oak's fully evergreen habit. This one seems to be closer to the evergreen type right here, this particular specimen. But I have seen other Oracle oaks in my day that have shown more deciduousness, like there's one near Blue Jay Campground in the other, other part of the Santa Anas, and that one loses about half of its leaves. I've seen that one twice. It loses about half of its leaves, which is fairly typical for Oracle oak, but like I said, they are intermediate between the black oak and the interior live oak. So that's why the lobes aren't really deep. But like I said, the maternal tree, the acorns that produce the Oracle oaks come from the interior live oak, because black oak is not really found in these mountains. I haven't seen black oak. I've seen Oracle oak on several occasions, and that's exactly what that is. That's a Quercus marejus, an Oracle oak, and there's a lot of interior live oak around here too. So I wouldn't be surprised to see more Oracle oaks, but it's kind of neat to see that. Really excited, and I will see you at the saddle unless I find something before then. Now we got a knobcone pine. I'm only maybe about 3 minutes walking from the Oracle oaks, but so we got a knobcone pine up here, Pinus attenuata. Another neat find. Well, I'll see you at the saddle, or at the next find. Well, just about at the saddle. I see all the cypress saplings I was talking about. So I'm just about pretty soon to around the corner, and I'll be at Maple Springs Saddle. So you got a lot of cypress saplings here. There's a parent tree right at the saddle, right near the gate. Here's a small Arizona cypress right here, Hesperosiparis arisonica, also known as Cupressus arisonica. So, just about at Maple Springs Saddle. We're probably going to take a small breather. It's a very scenic climb, but it is tedious because a lot of switchbacks are here. So I'll see you at the saddle. I should be there in less than a minute or two. Oh, here's a surviving adult Arizona cypress. You can see all of its yellowish pollen cones, and you can see a few gray woody seed cones. But I'm just about there. That's where we have the junction of here, Maple Springs Road, Harding Truck Trail, and Main Divide, which goes around the flanks of Modjeska Peak. But some good views from up here. There's a good view. You know me, I told you, I love my conifers. I don't mess around. I love my conifers. But here we are. And I'm going to start making my way up to Santiago first. That's my first destination. But I think I'm going to pop a water bottle, and I'm going to go up there where the gate is and take a break. I'll see you on. So I turned right, and now I'm heading up Main Divide, up towards Modjeska, which is up there. But I'm going to bypass it first, and I'm going to try to hit Santiago first. I think actually that right there is Harding right there. I think that's Harding Truck Trail. But I'm going to try to do Santiago first, and then backtrack to Modjeska. So, see you along the way. Well, just about at the 5,000 foot mark. That tower underneath Modjeska is at 5,000 feet now. So I've gained a good 3,400 feet, I'd say. A little tower complex here. This is the long west arm of Modjeska Peak. So let's see what the view is like around the corner here. This is where you could start heading up to Modjeska here. But my first goal is over yonder. There's Santiago Peak. 5,687 feet of fun. And there's the saddle. I've never hiked this way to Santiago. I've never been to the saddle. I've been on Modjeska once and Santiago Peak 3 times, but I have never, ever been to the saddle between the two. See, Modjeska's right there. You can see it right up ahead. That's Modjeska Peak. So, and my first goal is to hit up Santiago. Right now I'm on the western arm of it. From certain angles, Modjeska Peak looks less like a peak bump and but more like a big long ridge. But there's Santiago. When I get there, it'll be my 4th time at that summit. I'm looking forward to that. It doesn't look like the clouds have scraped the summit yet, so I might have my first time up there with relatively clear skies. Well, I'll see you at the saddle, or at the next interesting junction. Well, here I am. I'm at the saddle between Santiago and Modjeska, which you can't even see from here. You can see the use trail that'll take you up to Modjeska, but not quite at that yet, because I'm going to take the use trail that branches off here to the left to hit up Santiago Peak. So I'm going to start going up this, and this is probably going to be the steepest part of the hike, the use trail. You can imagine this is going to be a butt kicker. We got about 750, 770 feet of elevation gain. So I'll see you when I'm there, if I see something along the way I need to point out. Nice views. Now I got a nice climb up ahead of me. So I'll see you soon with the next update. Well, I'm on the use trail now. Still got a little ways to go before the summit, but it's very thick and dense over here. Very shady. There's some areas where you're unfortunately going to get whacked by a couple of twigs and branches. So just keep that in mind. It's not hard to follow. It's just a little bit steep at times, and well, I haven't got to the highest point yet, but just be prepared for some chaparral branches slapping you in the face on the way up. But I can see the towers up ahead, but still got a little ways to climb. A lot of chaparral whitethorn, Ceanothus leucodermis over here. It's entirely absent until I got near the flank of Modjeska Peak. Now all of a sudden it's everywhere. And this is the one that can poke you really badly. But it's also has one of the showiest flower displays of all the Ceanothus here in the Santa Ana Mountains. So I'll see you up the way with more details. See you soon. An old broken down truck. Didn't expect to see this today. Right here in the brush. Wouldn't be surprised if it came from up on Main Divide. Interesting. I didn't expect to see that. But hey, I'm still climbing and climbing. This is not as steep as I thought it was going to be, but it's definitely taking me time because I'm trying to avoid scratching myself up with chaparral. But it's definitely the steepest climb I've done of the day so far. I don't know what it's going to be like going up to Modjeska, but should be hopefully at the summit within a half an hour. I'm taking it slow because I'm starting to get a little tired. It's a long walk. It's a long hike up here through all the chaparral and stuff. But I think this is going to connect with Main Divide near the summit, but not at it. So once I get up there, I just got to follow Main Divide up to the summit, as far as I can tell. But I'll see you up the way. Well, getting there. I'm still lower than Modjeska, so I know I still have a good few hundred more feet of elevation gain. Came across, this is what they call ocean spray, this shrub here. I guess it's because of the flowers or seeds. This is Holodiscus discolor variety discolor. I've seen it several times here in the Santa Anas. The leaves are fairly small, but they're larger than their higher elevation relatives, the small leaf cream bush or small leaf ocean spray, and that's Holodiscus discolor variety microphyllus, which I've seen plenty of times hiking up in the higher elevation mountains. But as you can tell, the shrub is leafless is because it's in its winter dormancy period, as they are deciduous. But kind of a nice sight to see up here. It's nice and cool up here, that's for sure. But it's a beautiful climb. Like I said, you just gotta watch out for some chaparral branches. You might get smacked several times. But the trail's easy to follow. It's not a mystery. It's just you gotta watch your head and your arms. All right. Looks like it's leveling out. Let's see why. Probably getting closer to Main Divide. Well, I'll see you at Main Divide, unless I find another surprise shocker en route. But just coming up from the saddle, and also the fact that the sun's behind the clouds. Much cooler up here. In fact, the ground still has some frost on it. Also, because this is a north-facing slope, hence why we have thicker growths of canyon live oak, interior live oak, and of course also why we have hollow discus discolor variety discolor. I'll see you at Main Divide. Sure wasn't long. Here it is, Main Divide. I'm at the final stretch to the summit of Santiago. This will be my 4th time summiting this peak, each time from a very different direction. So, just about at the summit. I will see you up there at the top. Well, just about at the summit. Long, long, long stretch. Whew. For some reason, that stretch on the Main Divide felt like it went on forever and ever and ever. Actually, right now I'm in Riverside County, technically. But you can see Holy Jim Canyon, Trabuco Canyon, Los Pinos Peak in the middle, Trabuco Peak in the middle. So I should be on the summit, the actual summit, within a couple minutes. Oh, these last steps are always brutal. Felt like I was on Main Divide for hours. Some good views from here, I'll tell you. You can even see San Onofre Mountain by Camp Pendleton. You can see Palomar, but it's kind of hazy. Well, I'm on the summit plateau right now. I took my obligatory summit shot, a selfie, and take a picture of the survey marker and the wooden sign, but there are too many people over there right now. So now that I'm done with Santiago, time to head over there to Modjeska. Finally do the 2 on the same day. I'll see you on the trail. Well, I've left the summit. Now I'm heading back toward the Use Trail. So I'll be heading down Main Divide again. And back down to the Use Trail and to the saddle and then up to Modjeska. Nice to get up there, but too many people up there. Hard to take a good video up there. Long Canyon Road, 13 miles. I remember hiking all the way from that 2 years ago. That was a long hike, all the way on Main Divide. And then going back, the only shortcut I took was the Upper Holy Gym Trail going down. But altogether, that was probably close to a 25-mile hike. Would have been 26 if I didn't take the Upper Holy Gym Trail down. But I'm not heading that way. I'm heading northbound. Back to the saddle and up to Modjeska Peak. See you along the way. Well, just about back at the saddle. Starting to clear up quite a bit. Jessica's got a clear sky. Just got a few more feet down this path. I'll be back at the saddle. Gonna take a short rest. Take a short rest and then start heading up the other side to Modjeska. The climb up to Santiago from Maple Springs, pretty tough, I ain't gonna lie. It's not super steep anywhere along the route. It's manageably steep. This is probably the steepest little part right here. And that besides the little mound at the summit. But yeah, it's gonna be time to take a short rest. Maybe grab a quick snack. Then go up the other side of the Use Trail to get up to Modjeska. And just stay there for a short while, and then time to start heading back to the car. There's Santiago up there. Doesn't look so far from here, does it? But it takes quite a while to get up there, especially when you're pushing through thickets of chaparral. And there's a common crow. Saw one pretty close when I think it was when I was going up the Use Trail. I saw one. But enjoy the scenery. And a very large birchleaf cercocarpus. Just notice, there's a birchleaf cercocarpus right here. It's actually one of the largest ones I've ever seen. Very, very thick. It's got a trunk it's got multiple trunks that are several inches wide. And this is a birchleaf cercocarpus, Cercocarpus betuloides, variety betuloides, also known as the birchleaf mountain mahogany. Very thick branches. So this shrub's been around for a very long time. Beautiful, beautiful, absolutely beautiful shrub. Nice, nice little site. So came down from there. Here's Main Divide. It's heading a more gradual way to Santiago, and the Use Trail from Modjeska goes up there. So I'm gonna go take a quick rest. I'm going to resume my hiking. See you at the next point of interest. Well, here I go. The other side of the Use Trail, heading up towards Modjeska. See how much bushwhacking I got to do up this one. I can't imagine it probably won't be much different than going up the trail to Santiago. So, yeah. Looks like I'm gonna have to kind of wiggle my way around. It's a little sunnier on this side, so it's not quite as thick. It's quite open over here with all the chaparral yuccas. But, well, here I go, up to Modjeska. See you soon with more finds and points of interest. Well, not that far along to a colony here of Coulter Matiliha poppy, Romnea coulteri. This plant has the largest flower of any California native plant. But you're looking at it thinking, why am I looking at a bunch of green sticks? Well, it's because the plant's in its winter dormancy. That's why. They are winter deciduous plants. They're not really woody like a true shrub, but they form a shrub-like thicket. There's a little bushwhacking so far. Ooh, looks like we got a lot of it coming up here. This is gonna be cute. Trying to wiggle around this. Oh yeah, this is gonna be real cute. Well, I'll get back to you soon. I gotta get through some chaparral whitethorn here. Love this plant, but bushwhacking through it is no fun. I'm just about at the crest for Modjeska. Should be there pretty soon, actually. Whew. Yeah, it wasn't too hard coming up from the saddle. It's just a lot of bushwhacking. Well, not in the sense of thrashing through chaparral, but you will get scraped up a bit. So just be prepared for that when you do this hike. Just be prepared for that. It's a nice view of the San Gabriels. Alright. Now time to start making the last push. See you at the top. There's Santiago, that's where I was earlier. Well, I'm finally on the final push to the summit. Yeah, my legs are feeling it today. The climb up Santiago is no joke. I mean, none of this trail is unreasonably steep. It's a lot of climbing. But summit's right over there, that mound. I am just about to summit. I'll see you at the top. Well, here I am, Modjeska Peak, 5,496 feet. I don't mind telling you, climbing both of these peaks on the same day is tough. Ooh, yeah. This is an actual high point right here. But the little summit center. Used to have a wooden sign, but looks like it's been broken off. Somebody broke off the wooden sign or sawed it off. Last time I came up here, it was here. And here's a little benchmark. I guess there's a geocache in there? That's a little benchmark for the summit of Modjeska. And unfortunately, the sign is gone, which is a shame. But how am I telling you? This was a devil climb. I am pooped. I still got to hike the rest of the way back down to the bottom of Silverado Canyon. But at least from here, it's downhill 99% of the time. Oh, it's a nice chill in the air up here. But it's going to feel good getting back in the car. Woo. Now my legs are tired. They're sore. Doing both peaks, my elevation gain was well over 4,000 feet. There's Santiago. Here's Modjeska. It's the first time, this is the second time I've done Modjeska. Excuse me. I've done Santiago Peak 4 times. But this is the first time I've done them both together. Never summited these 2 peaks together. So it's an honor. My nose is a little drippy from the chilly air. But this is it. Modjeska Peak, 5,496 feet. And there's Santiago at 5,687. I'm going to relax here for a few minutes. And then I'm going to begin the long climb down. Snap a couple selfies. And second peak of the day. No easy task if you're hiking from the bottom of Silverado Canyon. It's no joke hiking all the way up here. But I'll see you along the way down. If I see anything interesting. But it's going to be time to start descending soon. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes just to rest my weary feet. And then I'll start my descent. Alright. See you on the way down. Well, we're about to bear right here at Main Divide. We just come down from over there. You can't even see it from here. Never mind. But I came from Modjeska Peak, and my legs are not as sore, at least my thighs, because going downhill. Well, right now it's actually level, but going downhill, feeling a lot easier on my legs. But so yeah, I'm heading down in the net downhill direction. Might have a couple little uphill jaunts in lower Silverado, but slight uphill jaunts there, but it's not too bad. Hopefully I can get back before dark, but don't know if that's going to happen this time. Basically, every time I go to Maple Springs, I park in the dark and I get back in the dark. So, at least this time, like the first time, I had a headlamp. The second time, I didn't. That's when I went up Silverado switchbacks to do Pleasance and Agador Peaks. And so I had to hike the last stretch of it in the dark, with a little moonlight to help guide the way. But they are Santiago. There's Modjeska, and hope you enjoyed watching the video. Hope you enjoyed seeing the scenery as much as I enjoyed being here. I'll tell you, it's tough. This is not a cakewalk. This is not a cakewalk. Some of the most strenuous hikes I've ever done in my life have been here in the Santa Anas, because I have lots of elevation gain and stuff like that, but it's worth it. It's worth it to be out here and enjoy. Boy, slightly hazy, but I can see all the way down to La Jolla, and looks like even possibly Point Loma. Of course, I can see Palomar, and way off in the distance I can see the Cuyamaca Mountains. So, you get some pretty sick views when you're up here. But thanks for watching. Hope to see you on the trails. I can't wait for my next one. Enjoy.